Alright, in this video I'm going to make a little vacuum comparison. I have just got from Accutools their TruBlu Evacuation kit. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to run this field piece vacuum pump on the single vacuum hose going to an S-Man 460 and split off into this jug to represent the line set and coil, or to simulate it, and this one is turned off, of course. Now the way I do these vacuums in the field, and I have for years now, is just like what you see. We've used these Hillmores, these bullets down here, and that old JB up there in the corner has done probably close to 1,000. It's done a bunch of vacuums, but nonetheless, I'm going to compare it. I'm going to run it 10 minutes on this single hose, and we're going to see exactly where the micron gauge on the S-Man and where the micron gauge on the blue vac right on the tank there goes to. Then we're going to shut it down and release it, and then we're going to hook up this system here. And I'm sure everybody has seen these. Has the large hoses, and it does give you clamps, gives you core tools, couple of different types of clamps. So we're going to hook this up just like the instructions here with it say, and we're going to run a 10-minute vacuum on that and see what the performance difference is, and see if this could turn out to be a real time saver in the field. We have had systems that took quite a while to get down to 500 microns, and that's what we really like to see. So let's run the first test and then let's compare. Okay, the lights are going to keep timing out in the gauges, and I'll have to keep cutting them back on every now and then, but nonetheless, we'll run this. I've got all 4 of these open. The 2 knobs on that jug are open. This one is closed, and I'm going to turn the gas ballast on here for a minute, and then I'm going to turn it on, and then I'll close that. There we go. Okay. So now that it's run a few seconds, I'll close this gas ballast. And we're going to let this thing run for exactly 10 minutes. I'm going to do it with that. I'm going to start it now. So probably 10-15 seconds after I close the gas ballast, I'll start the clock. Alright, less than a minute into it, we put the S-Man gauges to the 29.9 and they stop there. And here in a little bit it'll activate the micron sensor on the S-Man, the blue vac. Hopefully you can see the numbers on that. Alright, the Microns started a little over 2 minutes. On the S-Man, they lit up at 9,000, very quickly started down. It's at 6,500 now. Hopefully you can see that too. 5,500. Blue vac shows it's down to 3,500 now. So they vary a little bit. They get closer together as you get down into a deeper vacuum. And we're about 3 minutes into it now at 2,500 and 3,000. So let's try to remember that and kind of make a comparison when we hook up the other setup. Okay, we're coming up on the 5-minute mark. Very close to it. And these are a little closer than they were. That one's at about 1,400 and that one's just under 1,300. Just a little over 5 minutes. Okay, they're getting close together. The blue vac's at 1120 and the S-Man is now down below that. So we're not far apart. So we're gonna pay attention to the 1,000 micron mark, which is coming up pretty close, and it looks like it's going to be right at about 7 minutes. They're both getting really close to 1,000 microns, and it's just over 7 minutes right now. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run to 10 minutes, and we're going to use that time frame to make our comparison. And hopefully what we can do is we can prove the value. There we go, we're under 1,000 now. Hopefully we can prove the value of the TruVac set that we got from I got the book here. Accutools, TruBlu evacuation tools. So hopefully we can prove the value of that. Depending on how it looks, I may put them in a couple of more trucks versus just the one that I've got now. Because I'll tell you right now, as all you guys know, time is money in this business, and it can seriously reflect our profit margins. The time is money thing. Now we're down to about 780, 790 on the blue vac. The S-Man is still just above 8. And of course it's fluctuating around like the S-Man will commonly do. You know, cleaning and flushing the vacuum sensor port on the S-Man. Sometimes it'll seem to help, sometimes it seems not to do nothing. But once the vacuum gets down really deep, it's stable, and it, you know, I trust them. It's what I go by. I don't put this in line on every system. I really don't. And I go by the S-Man. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with that, but it's what I do. Now, I service them quite often, and I check them quite often. Okay, so we're approaching the 10-minute mark, and we're down basically to 755 and 690. So at 10 minutes, the S-Man was on 755, and at 10 minutes, the blue vac was on 690. So let's break this all down and release it and hook up the TruBlu evacuation set. Alright, we've got it hooked up here. So I'm going to try to do close to the same thing. Open the gas ballast. Pull the stopwatch up here. And reset it. Now, this is going to be the only gauge we've got now, is the blue vac gauge. We're not going through the manifold or any of that. So I'm going to turn this on, let it start, and I'm going to go ahead and close the gas ballast, and then I'll go ahead and start the clock just about like we did before. So let's see what this does. I've got these clamps on here pretty tight. And I will say the setup time here, hooking this up, definitely eats up a few minutes that, you know, that depending on how much time it saves, getting a deep vacuum pull. It's just going to be offset a little bit by, I guess, you know, that was my first time hooking them up, so I could do it a little quicker next time, but it took a good 5-6 minutes to make those 4 connections there. No big deal, but just worth noting. So, according to the blue vac gauge, when we hit our 2-minute mark that's coming up, we will already be under 1,000 microns. Okay, the 1,000 micron just went by and it's under 2 minutes. So we definitely see a performance difference here. Now when you use the, I've only got one core tool here just so I can add my gauge. But when you use the pair, like if this was a coil and a line set, you know, this was a unit instead of just a tank, it would you know, we would definitely have 2 core tools here, and we would probably either have our gauges or our smart probes or whatever it is that we chose. Now, one thing I like to do is evacuate and charge with everything evacuated all at once. But I can tell you just from watching this, as far as time goes, we are fixing to hit 500 microns. All right, we're below 500 microns and we're below 3 minutes. So, you know, one more fair way of comparing, and we may do that in the end, is to just undo all of this and not go through the gauges and just take the one vacuum hose from the pump to the tank. But there again, I'm making this comparison to compare what I've always done in the field and what I always do in the field. So I don't know that that's you know, that's necessarily going to apply to me. However, it will show the value of these hoses in this kit, and you know, what they will do for you time-wise. Now, they do make a couple different versions. They make a single hose kit, so you can just run, you know, I guess you could put a T on it or whatever you wanted to do, or you could just run from one side like a lot of people do. But we're in just over 4 minutes, and we're down to under 350 microns. So when comparing to everything that I was doing, you can see we're gonna definitely see a big performance difference here. We're gonna hit 300 microns in under 5 minutes. So there we are with the clock, and we're hitting 300 right now. So there's below 300 microns in under 5 minutes. So it's a pretty impressive setup and pump altogether working there. And I saw Brad do a comparison, a review and a test, and I see now why he did such a short period of time. This is a lot of video and a lot of time eaten up here, and it's plain to see how quick the superior vacuum components will perform. So we're approaching 250 microns, just over 5 minutes. So there's the 250 mark, and not quite 6 minutes. So let's go ahead and watch out the 10 minutes and see how far it takes it. But I think we're seeing some pretty impressive results. And the 5 minutes it takes to hook those hoses up is probably going to be saved. I mean, all I really ask my guys to achieve in the field is 500 microns, and I'm okay with that. And we've been doing that for many years. But as you can see, we're 6.5 minutes down to 220. $223 right there. So, fairly impressive setup. We'll just see what it'll go to in 10 minutes. I don't have any reason to just let it run and see what it'll actually go to. I know some guys might wonder about that, but when you're under 500 microns, you're seriously achieving your job. You know, we're at 7 minutes and 15 seconds and closely approaching 200 microns. So it's working pretty well. Now this particular set here does come with a T. Didn't look like it had enough clamps to me to use the T to where your vacuum pump could, both of these could hook to one port on your vacuum pump. Now it just went up a bit, back up to 260. That's not uncommon. I'm going to guess that if we had carefully wiped a little bit of nylog on each of these O-rings and on each of these clamps, you know, where the seats go together, that we probably would not vary and slip and do whatever it's doing. When you get down to 200 microns, you have a serious vacuum tool, you know. So I'm not surprised to see it jump up and then pull back down. Like I say, it does come with this T. The set I got does come with this T, and which would, I'm going to assume, allow you to hook these both to one vacuum port or vice versa. I haven't really opened this T and looked at it, but I'm assuming it's for that reason. Okay, we're a little over 9 minutes and down to 190 microns. And it may slip again. I don't know what'll happen, but we'll watch. There's an awful lot of seals here. There's O-rings in every bit of this, and this core tool, that little gauge, the little, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, nope, 8, 9 rubber seals involved here. 10, 11, I'm sorry. So there's 4 there, 4 there. That's 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so there's 11 rubber seals here. And we're coming up close to 10 minutes. We're at 163. The 10-minute mark went by right at 163 microns. So, there you have it. And this kit here, I believe they said, and you can see what comes in it right there in that picture. This kit here is just under 500 shipped. So $479 or $469, something like that. she's still going. She's down to 145 microns. So I think we've achieved the test that we're going to achieve, and I don't see any point in pushing any further just to see where it's going to go. I'm going to assume that all of this kind of testing has already been done by these manufacturers, and I read somewhere a ridiculously low amount, but I think we've burned enough of our video time here. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope some of this was some good to somebody, or at least interesting to you, and I hope this helps tell some of you whether or not you want to invest in one of these sets, the vacuum pump itself, and at a later time I may hook these to a couple of our pumps that we will probably already have, the Hillmore, the Bullets, maybe even the JB. I may take that T out and hook these and tee them together and put them on a of course these Hillmores are 9 CFM, but we may just see what exactly is representing all this power here. Personally, I think it is the hose setup, and obviously the lack of small orifices. So that's what I think is doing this, but you know, we may investigate this further. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, actually I made one small mistake on showing the kit here. This kit in this picture has 3 hoses, and the one I have here came with 2. So it came with 2 hoses, 3 of these type clamps. There were 3 of those in there, and there were 2 of these heavy aluminum clamps that I've got right on the pump there. So you can see the other 2 of the little ones. So there were 3 of those. There were the 2 heavy aluminum clamps. Has some extra O-rings and stuff there. Has the T, and here's the core tools. Now also was 4 adapters that these are clamped to. So the 4 adapters, this one's a bit bigger than that one. There's those, and I'm seeing what that T is for now. Different pumps and so forth. And here's the small adapter, and there's the other small adapter just to go down to 1/4 inch. And these, you know, all these clamps seem to work pretty well. Anyway, this is the 2 hose set. So I just didn't want there to be any confusion if I had done the wrong thing. And it doesn't necessarily say, so I got to think the case is probably going to be the same, regardless of what set you buy, or at least at some level. So that's obviously showing a little bit bigger set than what I got here. So anyway, just wanted to clear that up in case I made a little mistake there.